Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Questioning a better way, one gracefully disruptive conversation at a time.
I mean, however it doesn't matter for like speaking. No, I mean, we look weird no matter what. Right? Welcome to Turmeric and Tequila. Happy Tuesday?
Yes.
Tuesday. We're getting there. Excited we have a repeat guest, which is always fun.
Yay.
Laura Mahony. She's going to talk a little bit about her business, the Japanese Lantern, some of her background, and then we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to read my cards. Laura and I have done this 3 times before, at least.
I feel like maybe a little bit more, but
okay. Well, yeah, at least.
At
And
least.
like at 4 more times. And each time I feel like it's been pivotal points in my world. So as we further the podcast and enter into 2020 and some new professional and personal adventures, I thought it'd be really cool to see maybe what's in the cards. Vulnerable space.
have you used the guidance? Like, have you taken the cards that the readings and then the information from those readings and then applied it and followed that?
For sure. Yes, and it's been relevant in my world. Like I can see like things we talked about like 4 or 5 years ago when we initially met now coming to fruition.
That you didn't like?
Yeah, it's just like well, the initial card reading, literally you were like, you have all these great things or stuff you gotta learn, it'll be about 3 or 4 years. And back then I was like, oh, that's like centuries. Like,
yeah.
I need something to happen like tomorrow, so break it down. But yeah, some of that has like come to fruition and like been in the back of my mind. So and like meditate always comes up for me, and I'm sure it'll come out today. So
I'm probably in the first card.
Yeah.
You must meditate.
Press pause and sit still. But yeah, it's definitely, all of it has been relevant in my world. Like it's always kind of in my consciousness.
Yeah.
At all times.
Cool.
Yeah. So give us quick background. Tell us a little bit about Japanese Lantern. And at the end, I'll say if people want to do this too, how do they find you? But just right now, give us quick forward one for anyone that might not have heard our other cast.
So Japanese Lantern is my spiritual business, and what I do is I do intuitive readings where I use both the cards. Sometimes I will only pull like 1 to 3 cards. I've had really long sessions where that's all that comes out, but then we have this big long discussion around those 3 cards and the things that we see. I'm also so I use multimodal anything, meaning I'm intuitive, so I always point to like the upper right central part of my brain. That's where I get the messages from spirit, and so I consider it channeling. And I don't know that it's channeling per se, but it's blocks of thought that come into my head, and I know it's not me. So that happens during the readings as well. Sometimes I see things, hear things. I have pictures that drop down in my head, and sometimes things will happen in the environment, and that becomes a part of the reading. And so yeah, sessions are usually like about an hour long. I have found that like over the years to trust the cards. Like my husband was totally like, when he first met me 6 years ago, he just didn't really have an idea of this, and then he's seen it. He's not a non-believer, but it's like, it wasn't his thing. Yeah. And so, and I'm actually science and woo, so I like to combine those, but
I was definitely going to bring that up, don't you worry. But keep
okay.
Going. Yeah, I got you.
But so he has just seen these cards pop up over and over again, and it's like, you just can't, there's so many stories in life, just that the cards over and over again are like just spot on. Like it's like, oh, you're thinking about divorcing, or oh, you're thinking about a new career, or whatever. I don't know, it's just, and then the details of things come out. It's just strange. Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, I mean, whether I think if you believe or not, it can be just little hints, like plant some seeds. And I'm obviously a full believer, but I have seen some people kind of transition into like they're just more science than they are kind of like the woo-woo. But they get this like continuous like affirmation or point of this is working. Oh my God, I heard that. Or maybe, so there's the door opens just enough. But I think if anything's positive and it's helps guide you in any which way, like, why not believe? Like, why not lean into it?
Well, and people know. So it usually winds up, even if people are guarded, you say one thing and they just go, oh yeah, that's so true. And they just relax into it and they forget that it's the cards, and then it just becomes a conversation, which is really like awesome because it's, you just know by feel, and it's across the board. People are like that. So, and I don't mind if people don't believe. It's up to whomever, you know. I'm not out to like convert people, but it's really fun to see people, if they're skeptical or scared. That you get a lot of fear too, like, oh my gosh, is it going to be something scary? And I think it depends on the reader. I have a really high vibrational energy. And it's thank you. And it's healing, and so I usually tend to have really positive messages. And even if it's something that you don't love, you can always change the outcome of the cards if you don't like it, and B, it's sometimes you just gotta hear the shit. You gotta, you know. But it's there's always advice to like how to shift your thinking, and a lot of it is just a reframing.
Well, I mean, number one, to pay you deep compliment is this is vulnerable space, and particularly somebody does believe or they're seeking or hoping for answers or something. If you don't have that like in-depth responsibility and empathetic stance of like you're telling somebody potentially something really, really heavy, that's brutal. And you know, having somebody with your experience, your gifts, and your awareness of that responsibility in delivering those messages, that's so huge. And I've done not a ton of like readings and stuff, but I love all the different things, and you can pull different pieces from different modalities, whether it's coaching or palm reader or beads or whatever. But I think that's something you do really well, and like leaning into the cards, obviously all opinion and personal, you know, thoughts around anything are set to the side, but also relaying just enough. Like I don't think it's ever too much. I can almost feel at this point like it might be a heavier message, but you're giving it to me with like a very passionate, like conscious way. Like kid gloves a little bit. And I think that's really important because some of this stuff really is, it's heavy and vulnerable. And if you have somebody acting irresponsibly like that can like change the way the whole session goes.
Right.
So kudos to you.
Thanks.
And your ability. And I think it's phenomenal how, again, natural gifts, belief, and everything else, in addition to your formal education and the science side. Give us a quick 4-in-1 on that.
I've always been science-minded and also spiritual. I shut my spiritual side down and I became very logical to some extent, I would say. And but then I found there are a lot of people out there like Joe Dispenza, and there's a person who wrote The Power of 8, and they're and it's about meditating in groups, and I don't know, it just, there's so many people out there that are doing combining science and woo. And it's just kind of life-changing, because once you combine that, it just connects, and then you go to the science, and then that leads you back to the woo, and then it goes back to science, and then it goes to woo, and it's just, and then you can make choices on how to manifest or what you're actually doing with your thoughts, and then it makes sense. Like, because I remember just ever since I was young, studying about energy, and it also, these scientific facts they all match up with what I had my own inner knowing. Like, I remember in my 20s, before any of this, I was like, I just, you know, my thoughts create my reality. I can like create a cage for myself in a jail, or I can create freedom, and it's just how I think about something. And you know, that's like everything that, you know, people talk about now, and there's books written about it and stuff. So
I should have wrote it down back then.
I know, right? I'm like, dang.
Our universe is timing too, so we can monetize that down the road. But well, I think it's so huge because, I mean, there's science books that say, you know, the truth has a frequency. I can't remember the book's called, but you can like hold a piece of food and you lean forward if it's good for you, and back if not. I'm watering down a larger conversation. But this frequency and truth, I mean, it's science sounding, but then if you can sit in like a woo conversation where it's something like this, and it's like, well, you feel more relaxed or you feel off, like it's your body telling you your truths.
Right.
So whether you package it as the woo or as science, it all kind of leads back to the same conclusions, from my perspective. So That's why I love the balance of all things.
That's totally true. Like I have talked about that. I used to talk about it all the time, and actually you reminded me that I don't talk about it anymore, which is strange, but I used to do a sway test.
Oh,
and it's
okay.
like if you close your eyes and you think about things that that you love, like I would think about my husband or my kids, and or even the word love, you're gonna find that you're gonna start rocking forward on your toes. And then if you reset and you start thinking about things like killing, hatred, anything like that just repulses you, you'll start going back on your heels. And if you think about that, and that supposedly stems from your energetic field and your heart, and your heart is this, puts out an energetic field of like, I don't know, something like 20 feet, I think, out from your body. And so that's part of how you bring things in and you manifest. So it's like, it's probably your body's natural way of like either bringing things in. So when you're in this open space that's kind and loving, that is going to draw the experiences in. And then if you are thinking about like how you don't like yourself, or even negative thoughts about yourself, or like, oh, I suck at running, even if it's your, in quotes, truth, it's something that isn't in alignment with source, because source is loving and things like that. And so it's like, it's going to actually block things from coming into your experience.
Okay. And well, I completely agree. And I've said this with like in other casts that are completely different topics, but my type A, super strong-minded humans, like the ones that usually are really successful and, you know, can really work their butt off, whether it's fitness or professional or personal or whatever. I almost feel like leaning in and listening to that is harder because you can survive like in this uncomfortable state so long. And it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you training? Why are you hanging out with these people? I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make it better. I'm going to qualify. I'm going to do this. And it's like, well, all this is probably happening for a reason, but it takes that much longer for my strong, physically strong, and mentally strong humans to kind of have that breakthrough because they can withstand the resistance. So it's this really weird, like catch-22 of you're mentally and physically resilient. However, you need to just breathe for a second and listen to what's coming in.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. So science or woo, I think the message does come. We just have to learn how to embrace it when it comes.
Yeah.
I'm still learning that. As we're here.
Yeah, the Abraham Hicks stuff is Abraham Hicks is Esther Hicks channels Abraham, which is supposedly the collective, but they talk. I lost my thought. You were talking about the mental fortitude of. They just when you have adverse experiences in life, and this is something that I'm learning right now, and it makes it more palatable. Is that when you have, they call it contrast, but when you have contrast in your life or experiences that you don't like, it actually shows you what you do want. So you can give gratitude and turn it around. So everything is like, you just want to get into a state of joy, happiness, not a false sense of that, but the best feeling that you can get is what you want to get, because it's high vibrational. And if you think about everything, and that's a law of attraction, and you know, and then it goes back to science because it's vibration. And we're vibrational beings, and
So I think that's lots of things. And what I love is that our young people are embracing some of this conversation earlier, and you know, science or not, they are leaning into like how they personally feel about things and what's going on. So there's hope for the future. Maybe we'll all dial in a little earlier, our kiddos will, and things will be better.
I think so.
I think so too.
I'm really impressed by the kids and young people that are being born, and supposedly there's a shift in the people being born, like they're born conscious, and whereas we kind of have to work at it. They're just born that way, and they're just like, they kind of just take it all in and things like that. And I was born that way, and I was like, and I was like, oh God,
the real world, we're here, okay.
People don't like feelings, okay. Shut that shit down.
Seriously.
And it's like, now I'm like unpacking all of that, and it's like, no, that's actually good. That's your compass, and these are good things, and
these are good things.
These are good things.
Well, and that's, I think, I'm super excited. I love doing these. Yeah, but each time, like even now, I've done many times, I'm always a little bit nervous and excited. Because it's vulnerable space. But I've had some like high school kids that I coached. When I coached at Grandview, they were in high school. They were talking about meditation and this. And so, you know, they're 16, 17, 18, having these conversations. And I was, that was me 20 years later.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I do think it's happening earlier in our kiddos or in different space.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, I'm out here with you with cards, trying to figure it out.
Yay.
So background Japanese lantern. We'll recap at this at the end if you want to connect with Laura. But excellent balance of the natural gifts, the science-based education, and then ability to communicate all those messages with delicate, empathetic grace. So
Thank you.
that's Laura, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive in. We've got cats and fairies and something else. Angels.
Yeah.
So we'll go with that.
So just for the audience members that might not know about cards, I follow my intuition. There's some people that, because I feel like that keeps you in the flow of things. There's some people that are more, like a sword is always this and or whatever in the cards. But in general, the 3 decks I have are an animal-based deck, a fairy-based deck, and an angel-based deck, and they have different energies. And so I just intuitively go to the deck that I feel called to when I start. It's just a feeling that I get. And then the way the structure of the tarot cards is you have the major arcana cards, which is, I don't know the specifics, like 20 or 22 cards or something like that. And those are like exclamation points. And they have big energy around them, and that's like the Chariot, the Death card, or whatever. They're just kind of major messages. And these 3 decks, once again, it's a gentler energy instead of like the Tower, which is, it looks like 9/11. To be quite honest, it's like it's like people falling out of the tower with lightning being hit by it, and that's just as alarming to me. So I don't tend to use that deck because it has a harsher energy. It's a Rider Waite deck, and that's traditional.
Okay.
Or you get the Death card, and that'll freak people out. And
not today, spirits, please.
And it's like that's just transformation, as probably you guys know. But so that is so these messages are more gentle. And then in general terms, there's going to be 4 different suits, like from aces. Those are new beginnings. Okay. On through king, that's a more mature energy. It's like a deck of cards, and there's 4 suits. One is emotions, one is passions, one is financial, and then the other one is kind of head stuff. So, and then the last thing is, I always tell people in my readings, and Kay has heard this a lot, it's not a test of my psychic abilities. I always love for the person that I'm reading for to, if they see anything, because I'm sure you've experienced it too, like even though you might not know how to read cards, there's imagery on these cards, and there would just be images that really pull, and those are messages, like it'll pull at your brain, or you're like, oh my god, that caterpillar is just sticking out at me, like I don't know why, and it's like, it could be a message that you're in the beginning stages of transformation and you're just at the caterpillar stage, and, or something like that. So, and then lastly, I always say that I say what I see, I don't say what I think, which is very different. And I say what the messages are, because I don't want what I know about anybody, or what I might think of them from my own perception of life and life experience to color the reading. So I try to make it as pure as possible from spirit, because it's not about me, it's about you getting your message. It's not about me being right. So.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Mm-hmm. The cat is standing out to me, just so you know.
Okay. We'll see if I feel it. Okay, so what question do you have?
Today I kind of thought about this, and of course I feel like with you I always go with the general, like what do I need to know? But kind of like transitioning sort of into new career space, but really like wanting to let go of past patterns and then turn to like, I want to say like new phase of life. Personally, professionally, impact wise, I don't know. I think I mostly learned, particularly with this podcast, I feel like it's such a base, this is not very cliche, or an opportunity and a platform for truth and to talk about things. Do I lean into this and like have this be everything, or do I keep things going on around it? Do I do more of a personal lean into life versus professional, which professionals always come first? So it's kind of like, what is the next move? Is that too general?
For your podcast.
Or
you.
my life. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just see what comes up. So I like to, and I'm doing the angel deck just because I felt it. I'm sure the animal cards will do in a little while.
I just want the cat with the crown.
Like, I want the cat. Dying for the cat. Okay, and then a lot of times these cards like that will just, sometimes they either pop out of the deck on their own or they just jump out, and one just jumped out.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And then this is, and then sometimes they come in clumps. So
Okay.
I just kind of pull them until I feel like I'm done. And then I put them in whatever formation that I feel like they need to be. It's just, once again, intuition. Okay. That's funny because that horse kind of looks like you.
We'll take that as a full blowout if you could only see. It seriously does.
Yes, the mane looks like KO with her hair done.
We're in secure space, it's all good.
Yeah. Okay, so first we have the world card, and it says, a job well done, joy, contentment, and gratitude, the path towards enlightenment. So what I'm seeing in this card is you've been through a mixed past, both. And so I'm seeing kind of this fire area, and that's kind of like some of the turmoil that you had career-wise. And then, but I've also seen like you've grown a lot through it because of the bushes,
Sure.
and the trees, and it's actually created this. What do I want to say? It's actually created this. Not world, but it's created this shelter for you. It's almost like a pod that can transport you into different areas of your life. And it's created something that is whole. There's the infinity sign at the top and the bottom, and it's protecting you and surrounding you.
Okay.
And it's the path towards enlightenment. I mean, it's bringing you like to, it's kind of what we were talking about, like you experience what you didn't want in some of the past experiences that you've had. And this is you had to go through that contrast to know what you do want, and it's bringing you to like, oh, I want to do this podcast where it's like I'm authentic and I'm like shining a light on things that are real, things that need to be discussed, not just, you know. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well,
so
that makes a lot of sense all the way around.
yeah, and I see that you have a lot more growth than you did turmoil.
Oh,
So
okay.
you have just enough turmoil to like
survive.
Yeah.
Now we shall thrive.
shake
Okay.
things up, and you know, it's like you got to go to the gym to get stronger. It's like that resistance. So it
Yeah.
created some resistance. So I would see it as that
Okay.
instead of this thing that was like, I don't know how you saw it, but it seems like it was inflammatory to you.
Oh yeah.
But in the big scheme of things, it was like,
Stepping stone.
I'm getting the word hemorrhoid, but
Oh, okay. We'll go with that.
I was like a little hemorrhoid.
Yeah.
Like
It's. I would say it
okay,
was.
the butt really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I mean,
But
even
a
like
little bit more annoying than annoying, but
I think
it's uncomfortable.
annoying, massive amounts of learning, but there's also a lot of good growth alongside
Yeah.
all of those things. So both sides welcome.
Yeah, so in this card you can see there's just a big forest on the one side, and like the trees are so tall that they're like not even fitting in the card. And then the in comparison, like it's the inflammation is so much smaller compared to all the growth and the things that you've benefited from.
I actually literally think my body was like super inflamed in general.
Yeah.
Like just from, because I think I like skin will break out, or my knee, because I've had knee surgery in 2001 and then cleaned out. It's been a thing, but it'll like inflame. So all connected.
So now that like you can use that as like so it's good to like build vocabulary with spirit.
Okay.
So you can use that as, not that you want to be inflamed again,
No.
but any of those things that you just named, you can use that as like a guidepost for you to be like, if you're in a situation, it's like, oh, I'm getting
whatever marker, it's like a compass almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it can tell you like, okay, I need to like cut that out. The hard part is following your own intuition and your own advice.
Yeah, I'm listening though now.
Yeah.
Now that we're getting older and
Yeah.
then we have to beat our head through the wall
Right.
5,000 times for listening.
Yeah, it's really, it can be difficult, but I found that when I started, 6 years ago, I started following my inner compass and my advice and my emotions and not suppressing things. And I've done a whole ton of growth, like exponential. It's like kind of miraculous, and it has led me on this magical path that's been fun, and it's just been amazing. Like I met my soulmate and all these other things. It's just by doing what we're talking about, and also by like pulling cards and following the advice of the cards. And sometimes if you pull your own card, the same cards will come out over and over and over again. So we'll see if that happens. Like the messages tend to be repetitive. Okay, so the next card is time to buckle down and get things done. Honor your commitments, a guardian angel. So I actually see, since I saw the horse is you with a blowout,
his horse
I'm
like
like-
his hair. I know, we
gotta show the YouTube people. Hold on. Can you see
I
that?
hope you can see it, yeah.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay,
I think
anyway, I
horse.
just showed the card to the visual audience. It was, so check it out if you want to.
Go horse.
Anyway, so now it's like time to do it. Like you're coming out of kind of out of the woods into a clearing. I don't know that I not necessarily see that totally in the cards, but that's the message that I'm getting.
Okay.
And it's almost like I don't know, you're just surrounded by this ether, like the energy, and the energy is like behind you and pushing you and guiding you. You just need to make sure that you stay in it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And you do have everybody, I believe, has a team spirit. And that do you have a guy? A guy, G-Y, like a person, a male in your past that is like that has died or something. And it could just be your spirit guide.
I've always thought like my Aunt Carla's in the mix. She's passed away. But a guy? Like,
Yeah.
oh, my Grandpa Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see because there's a male in the back, and that was standing out to me in the card. But it's like you have one guide that is really close to you, guiding you.
Okay.
Like he has the reins.
Okay.
I
I almost feel like emotional right now. I don't even know what
Yeah.
it is. Okay.
You
We're
look like
here.
you're gonna start crying.
Yeah, I can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, like he's really like guiding you. So it's like, I mean, because that's very intimate, because he's like on the horse's back and he has hold of the reins.
Okay. Or my Grandpa Olson, I don't know.
Yeah, very kind.
Okay.
It could be, I think I'm getting more, I think it's more your spirit guide. And I don't know that they have a gender technically, but I feel like this is more of a spirit guide and might not be a person that you knew in body. It could also be a relative or something like that. I don't want to sound like I'm grasping at straws, but because I'm not. It's just there's somebody that is really like, because I think that each because you're team spirit and you have a lot of spirits and energies that help you, and so I think that and I believe that they have different jobs and things like that, and they just kind of take on different parts, but this is something that is being guided.
Okay.
So and I see it being prosperous, and yeah, sometimes it's funny because we were talking about the meditation sometimes, and we'll see if that comes up. Sometimes it's good to sit and meditate and sit still and attract things, but you've done enough of that. And
All right.
I know.
Yes.
Okay. So get your ass moving.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so it's time to like start being very serious about the way that you're going to be moving things along. Like, don't half-ass it.
Okay.
Take it serious, and because it's important work and it needs to be done well.
Okay.
And it says honor your commitments. So if you have any other things that are cursory, like surrounding the podcast, you need to do those. I think that those are going to bring things in because you never know where your opportunities are going to come. I feel like the honoring your commitments is going to provide growth for you.
Okay, like meaning it's like a sponsor, or
I think it's more if you just have any unfinished business or promises or anything that you have done.
Okay.
It could be family. It could be I don't know. It's just commitments.
Okay.
So, I would say that the podcast isn't the only. Like, it shouldn't be just the podcast.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying that you have different side businesses, but it's like you need more than the podcast.
Okay.
Does that make
KO
sense?
Alliance is my business, so the podcast is a piece of it, but
Yeah.
okay.
So I would say it's KO Alliance.
Got it.
So put energy into that and don't just funnel into this.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
That was the goal, but good to hear.
That was the goal?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want my consulting business to stay
Okay.
running. Yes. Yes, please. All the things.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then the next two cards are read together. One is the wheel, and it says it's a time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward. Fortune is on your side, and the wheel is movement. So once again, we're getting that like time to get things done, time to boogie and move and get your stuff going. So you will be successful, and yeah, it's kind of interesting because this is like the image is about the same, but it's
everybody has a
there's a lot of movement in your cards. And so, yeah, it's time to get things done and you're going to be successful. It's positive. And then the other thing that's coupled with that is happy family life, financial security, finding the magic in the little things in life. And that is balance. You need to make sure that spend time with your family and friends, celebrate, just really milk all of the different things that make you happy. When we're happier, then that is that thing that we're talking about. You start swaying forward and you draw these experiences into your life. So concentrate on and focus on the joy of things. And I would say that too, the joy of doing the podcast, because if it becomes work, then it's not what you're supposed to be doing. If it becomes hard, so you want and joyful things are easy. So you want, whether it's a soulmate, soul career, like a soulmate career, whatever your wants and dreams are, when you're in alignment, meaning you're in alignment with source, you're going to be successful. It's easy. When it starts to get bumpy, that's when time to change. Then you're going to get your inflammation.
Well, that's why I've been kind of calculated the cast, or not calculated, I should say, because it has been so fun and I absolutely adore it. I'm careful, and I know how to get sponsorships and do all that. That's my space, but I'm careful to lean into that monetizing this, and I know that's how it grows, but I just want it to be in the most right way possible because I know that flip side. Right. So so focus on the joy, not on monetizing it. The monetizing it should come. That's kind of what I think, and that's why I just let it breathe. Right. Again, shopping at decks and all that, I know how to do all that, and I've not done any of it strategically. So. And that drains your energy, right? Yeah. So don't do that. Okay. We're just out here. We're out here just speaking with animal cards and angel blowouts. And then on the top of everything, so there's a jumper card, and it's the 8 of Air, and it says the illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence, and afraid to take action, which is really interesting. Oh, jeez. Okay. So, because this whole thing has been about taking action, so I think that. And the reason why this is at the top and on its own is because this is kind of the overarching theme is that you have been, I'm going to say this not what I think, but what I'm seeing. Come at me, Laura. I know. Well, not that it's bad, but I just don't know if I'm right, and I shouldn't worry about whether or not I'm right. But you have been afraid to take action, and you've been kind of going, oh, is this the thing I should do? And it's that indecision and doubting yourself.
and that's why I kind of hesitated, because I feel like you're always passionate and excited about it. So I would think that you'd be like, yeah, I'm doing this, but the cards are saying that you have an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence, and afraid to take action. So this is like saying, if you felt like that, go. Like they're like, go.
This is, I did like not the bead reading, but whatever the reading was with Sarita, and it was kind of the same thing. Like, do social media, do this. But my main hesitation around all of it was coming from working in that space and some of those humans. I so don't want to be that.
That's the illusion of being trapped.
Okay, so that's like, I'm letting it go, still in process. But even the posts, this is in full transparency, like where it's just me in a picture and then my writing, like it's still cringy to me. Yeah. Even though I do it, I know it's good practice. I fully believe in my experience and what I have to say, like no questions there.
Right.
I just don't want to be lumped in this category of some of these other speakers that are not that. But I know that's all my own shit.
It is. So when you're talking about that, like I am, like my chest is like closing, and I'm like, ee, like
okay,
my body's getting really stressed out.
Okay.
There's a way that you can reframe all of that, where you can have the same end goal, or the end, like, well, the result will be the same, like you're gonna get your stuff out there.
Yeah.
But your thoughts around it are fearful.
Okay.
So you need to, and that's an illusion. So it's like, if you can reframe your thoughts into something that is not gonna close your body, because all of that stuff you said, like, how did your body feel?
Ugh, like cringe, like
ugh, right.
Yeah.
And so, but it sounds like it's probably something that you need to do.
Okay.
Perhaps because you said you're doing it because you said it was good.
Yeah.
So you need to find a way where you're, you know, because it's to put the energy that you want to put out, like, so you're putting vibes out to everybody.
Right.
So you don't want the cringy stuff to be mixed in with your good stuff that you're doing.
Right.
So you got to get rid of the cringe.
Okay. Okay. No, I thought about this because I like
Does that make
the
sense?
humorous, but 100%. Yeah, and this is all stuff like, I mean, every piece of this resonates because I really do know what I have to do.
It's like constipation or something. Like,
yeah, I'm like,
what am I, like hemorrhoids and
I
constipation?
know, geez, I got fiber in the kitchen. But no, it is this like this internal battle of like, I know what I want to do and I want to be that. And within the back of my mind, my direct experiences with humans and things where I'm like, no, I hope I don't get put in this category because it's so not what it is. So I know all this is my own story, so we're just, that's why even when I'm putting out these posts and I get to be more mindful of it, it's phenomenal practice for me to just embrace that and let it be out there and get the feedback that I'm getting and like kind of let that process evolve. And I want it to be a little bit more humorous and not so like professional photos and all this. It's like, I don't know, there's something about it that's just not my jam.
So what is it that you want? Like, if you could have your ideal,
Where
where you didn't limit yourself with those past things, what would you focus on? Like,
I mean, similar, probably more lighthearted humor and like heavy messages alongside my language, my sense of humor, that which it is kind of that right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, again, like the professional photos and these things, they're phenomenal, and I do think there's an angle to that. It's important, and it's still kind of a lot. Like, to have a picture of just you, like, it's so myopic. It's like training to be an individual games athlete. Like, there's something within me, like, all you think about is like, did you sleep enough? Did you eat enough? Did you train? Well, I gotta go do this. Nope, everything stops. Again, if I'm one piece off of all this, my whole training's screwed, and then I'm screwed for the week, then I'm screwed, then I don't qualify for the game. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you live in such myopic space all the time.
right.
That's kind of how like the influencer branding situation is.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be. I completely believe that.
Yeah, and
and finding that balance.
you're being super specific, and you're saying, well, that's the way it is, which is going to keep you in that isness.
Yeah.
And this card is saying that's an illusion of being trapped.
So stop it.
Yeah, and here's the unicorny horse with the blowout, but it's like
This horse-
flying everywhere.
Okay.
And I see that as like breaking away from the herd. Like, so it's like,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
there's all this, you know what I mean? So you break away.
Yeah.
Like, it's an illusion. Like, you think that you have to stay, like, all these other unicorns are thinking, so on this card, there's like a pack of like probably 12 unicorns, and they're all running very close to each other, touching and things like that. And then there's one that just breaks away from the pack.
Yes.
So it's like,
Oh my god, that so
You
resonates
need-
with my soul, like on so
I
many levels.
know.
Like so many levels. Okay.
So you need to be the unicorn that breaks away, like,
Okay.
and not be the one that stays there and goes, oh, I need to be in the pack. Speaking into the microphone.
Kill that hand. Yeah.
You can't hear me. But yeah, so
Okay.
it's an illusion. And when you think of things as illusions and eliminate, like there's it's like that goes to the science, like there's just infinite human potential.
Yeah.
And like, why limit yourself? And there has to be a way. And that's when actually you sit still and you do the meditation
Yeah.
and things like that. But also staying in this joyful space.
Yeah. I genuinely think I'm getting warmer because like when again bead reading, that was kind of like similar thing. She's like, start doing this, like stop it, start doing it, and then like little steps have changed, and you can obviously I need to hear it again because it's happening.
Yeah.
It's still moving, it's still balanced, like where I'm pulled back and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do this, but then I'm like, yes I do, I love this, like.
Right.
And every time like I post a cast or something, like I'm excited to wake up early and then get it done or have these conversations. It's some of the stuff around it that's a little bit more cringy to me, but it's getting better. So I know it's in process.
Yeah.
I just have to hit the gas and let go of whatever.
Yeah,
I
it's
have.
like all the cards are like, go, do it, buckle down, things like that. I think that this is also what these cards are saying to you for
Okay.
sure. And I would, so to manifest things, you always focus on the feelings. So focus on like when you start getting in that cringy space, you know, and this is like borrowed from like, once again, Abraham Hicks. It's like focus on, because you can, when you start, you're not solving anything by focusing on these cringy things. What you're doing is you're lowering your vibration, and then you're not going to be helping anybody because it's going to stop your progress or bring things in that make it bumpy. So you keep focusing on the things that you do want, and you don't have to, and then the things will solve themselves.
Yeah.
I know that sounds silly.
No, I completely believe that, and
But
other
it's
work
like-
that I've done, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's like you vibrate high, and then other things that vibrate high will come in and match it, and then these other things will fall away. But if you allow yourself to lower to the vibration, the lower things, you don't want to lower to the lower things, then you're going to be with the lower things. You want to raise to the higher, and then things come in, and the lake will attract lake.
Okay.
And that's, you know, part of the illusion
Okay.
of being trapped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So focus on that, and then just be cognizant, because your body, like, especially when you're cringy, it's like that's your, once again, your emotions are your intuition. So it's like that's telling you nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not for you. It might be for somebody else, but it's not for you.
Okay.
And if your body's telling you that, there's like your higher knowing, there's something out there.
Yeah.
There's a process, a way, the KO
The
way.
balance from here. Okay.
Okay, so Six of Water is coming up at the bottom of the whole reading. So this is in kind of the shape of the cross. So the first world and the action cards went across the middle, and then there's the one at the top, is which we just discussed, goes over the whole reading. And then it says memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, romanticizing the past. I sometimes see this as like, you know, sometimes you have things in your past that are holding you back or whatever, but what I actually see in this is, excuse me, stay joyful. Once again, I'm seeing it as more of a joy card. Like there's the mermaid, and they're floating around the water and they're all happy, and there's like some dark looking fish in the sea, but it doesn't bother, they're not gonna ever bother these two kids because of where they're vibrating. So it's kind of like what we were saying, like when you stay in that joyful state, they're just never gonna, like, they don't have any fear that they're gonna be gotten. So I see it more as that.
Are those margarita glasses?
They
Or
could be
jellyfish?
for you.
I was gonna say
Tequila.
Those are welcome in, but unless you're bad vibes. Okay. Or cheap tequila, you can say down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheap tequila.
I'm here for it.
Okay, so do you want to pick from a different deck, or do you want me to pick from a different deck and see, or is that?
I mean, you tell me. This is all making sense to me. Like body and mind are in alignment with all these things, and like on the cusp of kicking out the old and welcoming the new, and furthering kind of just what I'm doing, but in my more balanced, following the highway.
And I feel like I really want to go to the animal deck, that you want the cat deck.
Yeah, I do. I'm
not ready yet.
Okay.
I am going to pull a few more of these cards. They came out. It's 4 cards. I will see if I can. I don't know how much time we have.
Oh, you're fine. I'm good if you are.
I'm good.
It's 11:06. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's put this here, here, here. Okay, so 4 cards came out together. Okay. All right, so these 4 cards there's a lot of big energy here. So how we were talking about the major arcana cards, those are like the chariot or whatever, those types of cards. So actually in your reading you have quite a few. In the first part we had 2 major arcana cards, and this is 3 out of the 4 are major arcana cards. So it's like a big energy. So what you're doing is serious. In an awesome way.
I'm
like, wait a minute, that's all right.
As I'm like, I just want to be funnier and humor, and you're like, no, bitch, this is serious.
This is serious.
Okay. But I am for serious.
Serious.
Yeah.
Serious shit.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's about to get really weird.
They're like, she's all gentle. And I'm like, this is serious.
Bitch, pay attention. Okay.
No, serious as in super important. Like, it's important work, just like in the wherever we were talking over here. It's like, that's why you have to do things in the right way, and dot your I's, cross your T's type things, and because it's important work that you're doing. And so and not in a perfectionistic way. I mean, of course, like, the imperfections are what make us awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, realize that, like, you're doing important work.
Yeah.
So
noted.
I love the first card. It's the Dreamer. It says, a leap of faith, follow your dreams, unexpected opportunities.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're here.
I know. So I see this as, we were talking about staying in joy and taking action and things like that. And so from that, it's, if you're wondering what to do, yeah, go for it. Go for the podcast and really, like, dig into that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have unexpected opportunities come up, but that's why you need to stay in that, like, being aware of, like, your emotional state.
Okay.
Because you don't want to be in the fear state and attracting weirdness.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next, and I like it because the dog's next to you.
Oh, yeah.
You're all protected in the bubbles. So it's like,
okay.
good family, things like that. So, lavish abundance. So the next one is the Empress card, and it is lavish abundance, give birth to your dreams, nurture yourself and others. So keep doing what you're doing with your self-care.
Okay.
I keep getting, all right, so it's like I'm saying all right to, like, the spirits, but, like, it's like, keep it, like, because it's the same message over and over again. Nurture yourself. What else was I going to say? Lavish abundance. So this is like the ultimate, like, she's in this golden light. She's holding, like, in a forest, like, this baby. And so it's like, the baby is a new beginning. So I see that as kind of this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is your baby, but you are in a forest where you have had other things happen, and the life has happened, but it's a beautiful forest full of animals, and the waterfall in the background as the abundance is flowing towards you and things like that. And so you just have to do all the things to care for that baby, and that includes taking care of yourself.
Okay.
And then just nurturing it, giving it a lot of attention.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you confused?
No, not really. I mean, I think I think I do let my mind energy, like, take on extra, stuff that I don't need to, even if it's, like, help with projects or volunteering or whatever. Letting some of that go and putting it back into my own stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we did say honor your commitments earlier.
Yeah.
But that's just different.
Okay.
I mean, this is still, like, it's a baby. It needs attention.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that mom can't go to the gym.
No, seriously. I mean,
you get a sitter.
I was like, for this year for New Year's, like, I stayed in and I was, like, happy to do so. I was supposed to make a vision board, but I was just tired and just, like, but just relaxed. I made like a charcuterie board. I'm gonna sound so old. And like pet my dogs, and it was wonderful. I've never stayed in like for New Year's in, I don't know, 30 years.
It's nice, isn't it?
It really was. Like
Yeah.
it was, I'm still down the party. Don't worry, y'all. The tequila is balancing the tequila. But yeah, no, it was just nice to just relax.
Yeah.
And start the year quite literally on the right note.
Yeah.
Not hungover, feeling good.
Yeah.
With my dogs. Yeah.
I started to do a lot more of that kind of stuff the past 6 years, but
Okay.
and I like life a lot better. I don't know, it allows you to savor it more
Yeah.
and just not be all caught up in that like all the, and also it might be maybe because I'm energetic, super like receiver of people's energies and stuff, and it's just a lot of energy.
Yeah.
We were driving on this year and it was like all these weird driving car things were happening. We're like, let's just go home.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was like,
Call it a day.
it's like weird. I don't even know what was going on. Anyway,
Okay.
I digress. Okay, let's get back into this. So King of Air is the next card. Speak your mind with confidence. And balance mental and emotional considerations. So what's kind of cool about this card is that like there's the dude on the back of the unicorn. So you know, like you're being guided, and then like there's a pack of unicorns in the back again.
Okay.
So kind
I
of
thought I
is
left them.
echoing
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did leave them. And now you're like parading in front of them going, see, this is how you do it, bitches.
Identify strongly. So, okay.
Doesn't that look like it though? Like it's like,
1000%. Yeah.
it's like, I broke from the pack and now I'm going to
And that's what
parade
it
in
is.
front of you. I wish you guys could see the card. I'm going to show the
Okay,
audience at
cool.
home again. Hold on.
That's actually really hilarious.
I know, isn't it?
That's completely within my thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks like, and then the guy is,
I'm still a competitor at heart.
the guy's on your back. And then you still have the
Okay.
fabulous blowout.
Yes.
It's a unicorn. Okay, and then the sun is the last card. So happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success, have confidence in yourself.
Okay.
So really the cards are like, and let me see if I see anything in this. No, just that. No, I'm kidding.
No, the end. Okay.
That's it. No, the sun is, so so what you're doing is novel and different. And the way that you're doing it is novel and different. And so you don't have to have that worry, like where we were talking about the illusion of being trapped.
Yeah.
Because you do have brilliant new ideas and that lead to success. And then, so that kind of lack of confidence and fear that we were seeing, because this is a lack of self-confidence that overarches. It's really nice that like that overarched the reading, and then but we're ending on have confidence in yourself. Like the sun is a card of light and being in alignment and being in the truth and things like that. And it's the wings on this angel in the card is they're wrapping around and protect. It's like protection, not from a fear space, but just like keeping the detritus out. Like it's just calm and peaceful in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like keeping the purity within or something like that.
Yeah, and
Ish.
you're like, are you pure?
Yeah. I mean, it's subjective, I think.
Keeping the purity in.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I know, like, right as I said that, I'm like, oh, there's multiple angles we could
I
dive
know,
into
I'm like,
here.
that's not a commentary on you at all. So, but and there's also in this card, there's new roots being grown, and they're coming out from under what you're standing on the pedestal, and there's butterflies and flying all over the place. So that's like a lot of transformation. So you're gonna be going through and probably have gone through multiple transformations and iterations of yourself.
Okay.
And you're probably in a spot where you never even who would have thought you'd be on this clump of land?
Yeah.
So in this picture, there's it's kind of a pedestal made out of earth that is risen above the ground in kind of a strange way, and out of the side, and then there's the roots from the angel growing into that, and then there's also tree branches growing out from that. So it's like I said, like you're in this unique spot and vantage point where nobody would have, it's just, but you're still growing and learning, and you're putting down roots. So all of this is where you start to grow. Okay. So it is, weren't you saying in the beginning, like, it's kind of like you're taking root and you're growing, it's like your new path.
Yeah. It's like everything, which a few of these cards kind of demonstrated, like everything that has been done has happened right on time to put me in exactly this spot to do exactly what I need to be doing, and now I just need to do it.
It's weird how that happens.
I know, again, but like my type A strategic humans are always, we're gonna do it this way, and it's universe continuously being like, nah, girl.
Yeah.
Here's how it is.
Yeah.
And this one's, I just gotta say, is funny, like on this land, because at like growing up, college, dance club, anytime we're there, I'd always want to be on like the speaker, like away. So you're like dancing kind of over the crowd, not in like a ego way, just to like have your own space. And like that's immediately what I thought of when I saw that. I was like, yes, my girl's on the speaker at the club.
That's so. You're my spirit human. Yeah. I'm like, I did stuff like that all the time too. In fact, at Zed, I ran into Taylor at Zed, yes. And I'm like, it drives me nuts because I want to be up close. Yeah. And then I think that I have like this great spot, and then all these hordes of people come in, and we were like, so we got like right up front, and I'm like, with all these like high school teenagers, and they're all like,
God knows what.
Going boop, 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 like bumping into me, and I'm just like, oh honey, I've been doing this for such a long.
We literally ran into each other too.
It's so great.
Red Rock, so it's huge, but into each other in the bar line.
Yeah.
And with all the thousands of people, like craziness. Yeah, see, I'm here for you.
That's fun.
It was so fun.
Oh my god, you! Okay. All right, so I am drawing the last 3 cards because I feel like we have a really nice closure with the sun.
Okay.
Jeez Louise. Serious? Okay.
Oh my god, I'm scared.
I have goosebumps.
Oh,
I like that. Okay. So, these 3 cards are from the cat deck, which she's been dying to do.
Yeah,
so, there can be duplicate cards because it's the same, it's a tarot deck as well. So, sometimes you'll get the same cards, and we kind of have some of them. Well, we have one of the same cards. But, the first card, but they're all major arcana cards.
Okay.
So, the first one is balance, and it's a zebra. So, it's like, girl, you do you.
Oh, good. Okay, they have the best animal outfit. I think of all, but yes.
And it's like, they do have the best animal outfit. Yeah, and the zebra is like very individualistic. Zebras are, show your stripes, show who you are. Like, be yourself, be you be you. Okay. Do things differently. Like, and it's like, this speaks to that, like, afraid to take action and all that stuff that you were saying before about being afraid of, kind of doing things like that you have experienced in the past and repeating that, and you're not going to do that because you're you.
Right.
The other piece of this card, so that's the picture of the card. The other one is, by merging varying points of view, you can generate an extraordinary new idea. Compromise with others and collaborate to discover a better solution. So this is a cool card for you because I'm not really seeing the balance for you. I'm mostly seeing that the advice for you is with what you were talking about earlier, with like, I don't want to do things the way people have been doing them, and you want to do things in a different way. Do not discount that because you're afraid of it.
Okay.
So don't be afraid to look at it, and look at it where you take out the positives.
Okay.
So the positives might be that, like, you're communicating the good stuff and spreading the good stuff in a way, but you're going to do it in a different way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's good to all of the past experience. There's just a few certain things that I don't want to be like, but I do see that even in those instances, there's positive pieces to pull out.
Right. So treat those as like a Voldemort, and just that's not going to be what's spoken anymore.
Got it. Okay.
But focus on. So another technique that I've heard of is where if you have a person that you might have a challenge with in your life, a lot of times what people will do be like, oh, I hate this about them, and they did this, and and then you're a victim, and it's low vibrational.
Yeah.
So you focus on what you love about them.
Yeah.
And what you learned, or what the positives of it, and you just focus on that, and you give attention to that, and that's where your energy is going to go, and you want your energy to go toward the positive. Okay. So keep on focusing on, like, instead of like, oh yeah, and getting into that story, because you can feel it, that story, whatever, it brings you down, and you can even see, like, you talk about it, and your vibrate, like your body just sinks and collapses, but if you were to talk about like what excites you about the past experience or the things that were good or whatever, and you focus on that, or focus on something that has totally nothing to do with any of it,
Okay.
you'll be in a better vibration.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but this is really good advice for you, to merge, to create something new and better.
Okay.
And that's what like all the innovators probably do, and you know, like Bill Gates and all this stuff, and it's like
I've been watching all of those documentaries.
me too.
Yes, yeah. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, different. They're different, no pun intended, animals. Like totally just different way of being and thinking.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And it's interesting because what comes to mind for me is like, you know, I've thought about like the environment and all the environmental things, and you know how like and then it's like we need to stop doing this and we need to stop doing that. But I think that like what I learned from watching the Bill Gates things is that we innovate.
Yeah.
We take, so you don't necessarily, we might not have to change certain lifestyles. This is not what I'm not advocating like plastic straws or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you know what I mean? But you can take that and make it better,
Right.
where it could be a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um,
Creative solution, essentially.
right.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's like,
kind of what my consulting setup does. But yes,
yes.
totally message received.
Okay, this is cool because Unity card is, I knew this card was going to come out for you.
Really?
Yes. So, which is really strange. So I did a reading for somebody else, and this person was actually on a cooking show on TV or something like that. And I'm like, I see you like on TV. And I didn't really, and I didn't really know that. And then, so I was seeing, like, I just saw this card for you in my head before we even started.
Oh.
Because I just saw, like, embraces, well, it's a polar bear, and he's talking to two little polar bears, but it's kind of like having that platform, whether it's, like TV or, YouTube, your videos, things like that. Like, doesn't this look like a TV?
Yeah.
And you're, like, talking to an audience?
Yeah. I thought it was me with my two cubs, Cleo and Colette.
No.
Okay. Well, bye guys.
Wrong. Wrong.
Never mind. We're going to TV.
No.
Okay. Bye guys.
I think mine's a little bit second, but yeah, it could be that. So, and you know, they have dualistic meanings, and if that's what you're saying, because a lot of times it's like, yeah, so it's like, but you're so separate from them, so I didn't see that.
Okay.
Because you know, I would see you guys all. There are other cards where it's like snuggied,
Yeah.
and that's the way that like this family, like I would see them in here,
Okay.
or like by your side. This is like you're teaching, you're preaching, you
I'm
know.
the speaker.
Yeah, so it's like you're being a mentor. Once again, that energy's coming through. Like, remember how I'm talking about like you're teaching, like that came out in your first card reading, which was like you teaching
Younger women.
like,
You'd be,
young
it was
women.
something around you'd be really impactful to younger women or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same type of thing.
Okay.
So that's coming up for you again, but I see it as like, you know, some kind of media type platform where you're going to be talking to like audiences and things like that. And then Unity is just a spiritual card. Anyway, we are all one. Here's also a repeat of that image of like the ethers that we've seen like sprinkled throughout your reading. Embrace this time of deep spiritual growth. You may feel called to act as a mentor, find a new teacher, or spend time with others who are also on a sacred path. So I also see the mentor thing is, I'm seeing it as more you're being called to act as a mentor, because actually that's what came through before I even saw like what it was saying, because I don't have the cards memorized. And then I also, for you in this card, spend time with others who are also on a sacred path, which is like,
Us.
we talked about, I know,
Yeah.
us.
Friends.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh. No, but we've talked about that before, like surrounding yourself with those kind of people, which is already what you're doing. So that's reiteration of doing that. And then the wheel is the same as this wheel.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of funny. So it's like, expect a sudden positive change in your life. You can now move forward and make great progress. So that's the same thing. It's a reiteration. So it's like something to really pay attention to.
Okay.
The wheel is a card of motion. It's a card of action. It's telling you to, like, what's cool about this one is that it has like the caribou are pulling a tree, a pear tree, and it has all this fruit. It has a little butterfly. So it's like from your transformation, it grew all this fruit. And then you're dropping fruit along the way. So it's like, hey, you need a pear?
Yeah.
Like, I got you.
So what I do is help people.
Yeah.
And elk is my spirit animal, you know? And that's
Oh, I
different
didn't
than
know
caribou,
that.
but yeah.
That's funny. Well, they kind of look the same, so
Yeah.
maybe it is. I have no idea.
I think it's the same thing.
Oh, it is caribou.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
it could be the same.
Okay. I think they've got to be the same family. They're the same headdress, so.
We'll make it that way, because it's like, and it would make sense because like
Yeah.
your spirit animal is actually pulling the tree.
I told you, I want to, like, did you watch Ellen's Greatest Giveaways?
No.
You know all these shows do, like, giveaway, I mean, of course, it's, like, tearjerker, but they'll give away, like, cars, whatever. That show, they, like, paid off people's mortgages. They paid for, like, surgery, like, $200,000 and $300,000, like, that would be, like, I know, like, where you don't just, like, help someone's life, like, you straight up change it, like, big deal.
Yeah.
So everybody come get a pair as soon as I have them.
Yeah, so you're gonna have some pears to drop,
I'm
like,
here for it.
and it just happens, like, just
Yeah.
along the way.
Okay.
It's like that, so. There you go.
Alright,
That's
Thank
all.
you. I that's it. I love the theme of the blowouts, being on a speaker and a pedestal, and then just get in action. So many, like, my past movies have been like meditate, slow down, and this one's like, bitch, get up, go and
It
do it.
is.
So I'm here. Okay, I'm down to hear it.
It's
I'm
like,
here.
it's really funny because I do so many readings and I'm like, all right, does the universe just want everybody to meditate? You know what I mean? It's like, because it comes out so much, it's like, you need to meditate. And of course people are like, like rolling their eyes or whatever. But they're like, yeah, I know I need to meditate. Yeah, I know I need to meditate. And it's just like, you didn't get any, it's like, do.
I'm surprised. Okay.
So it's time to do.
Okay.
I have the do.
I got it.
Pictures.
We're recording. We're talking. I know it's close. Like anytime something big has happened in my life, like a big career shift or athletics or something, I could feel something brewing, and like I feel it. And I feel like there hasn't been enough time in between like the last thing, which is again story, but I feel it's right there. So all of this is, as we know, stuff that you know, but you always come in at the right time.
Yes.
Deliver the right messages.
Yes. And you know what's cool about what you just said is that that's how manifestations work. And it's like, I actually wrote about it like when I was, so I got divorced and I got these messages, like I had this crazy card reading where it was like, oh, your soulmate's coming, and I hadn't been divorced that long, and it's like, I think, and then I got these cards and it's like, call in your soulmate, and I was like, really? And I was like, okay, and I did it. And then I get this card reading and she's like, forget about this, and then it was like, there's gonna be this guy with integrity, and he's gonna have like, see you as a princess, and it's gonna be a lot of love, and that's exactly what happened. But, and it was weird, so that happened, and then she's like, it's gonna be in 2 months, but I wrote about, like, besides all of that, I felt it. And I describe it as a swirl of energy. And I drew, it's almost like a dust cloud. And I just felt it. And then he came, like within about like a few weeks after, 2 months had gone by. But yeah, and then it's like, you can feel it. And that's, you want to, like, when you feel that energy, to manifest things, you really want to like stay with that as long as you can, because that's what, like, that's the excitement. That's like, there's a lot of the science people and science woo people, and they'll say that like when you want to bring something in your life, you have to like imagine it and visualize it, and your reality probably is not going to show it, because otherwise you wouldn't want to be wanting it. You don't pay attention to the reality, you keep paying attention to your dreams and your thoughts and your visualizations and the feelings. And then when that feeling comes in after that follows the visualizations, then you really pay attention to that and you feel that, and then boom, things start coming in, and then you notice those things coming in, and it just, and then it's there. So it's awesome because you're intuitively doing the manifestation.
Well, I've spent a lot more, again, like kind of slowing down, a lot more time like by myself and like thinking, or with my dogs, and we have our own communication, but it's not verbal, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's I've been thinking a lot about like what I'm seeing and what I want, and like I don't even know that it's super intentional. It's just there because like it is what I want, and that's what I want to think about, or like my ideas. So I've had a lot of time to like really just kind of envision what the next step is and like what I want to be doing, and all these things that I really care about.
Yeah, and that's what that joy does too, when you're in that joy space. Because when you're in survival mode, you're not dreaming.
Right.
You're thinking about, and that's why you don't want to spiral. But that joy space, like, and all that self-care, it actually brings the good things in, because you have the time to dream and do what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here. Thank you, Laura. Laura, where do we find you if somebody else wants to do this? You don't have to do it on camera or on the mic, by the way. She can just read your cards. You might. I think this is like kind of a cool practice. I mean, I was like pretty nervous going, which I kind of always am with this stuff. But like just letting it be what it is, and then there's almost like some sense of accountability, knowing it's being recorded and videotaped.
Yeah.
So.
Which is kind of cool that gets into scripting, which
Yeah.
is another spiritual technique where you like put it out there like in very specific ways what you want.
Yes.
I digress again, but you can find me at www. I guess you don't need that anymore, but thejapaneselantern.com.
And your Instagram.
And my Instagram.
I like that actually. That's kind of funny.
Instagram,
Freudian slip. Yeah.
Exactly. Is the Japanese Lantern. Laura at thejapaneselantern.com is my email. And I do readings in person in Denver, in the Denver area. And I also have clients kind of all over the country. I've done some in Canada, and I do them via Skype. So, yes.
Do you do animals as well?
Animal,
Like talking to animals?
intuitive.
Yeah.
No, no, but sometimes you can get messages, and I can teach you how to do that and stuff. But I've channeled a few dead people sometimes, but I kind of have like really healing messages for the person. But that's not something that I kind of have, because you can control, like some people can't, I guess. But yeah, I'm kind of like white light. I'm like, sometimes you scare me, spirits, like the dead ones. And I'm
spirit boundaries, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
so I
still
do
working
spirit
on
boundaries.
but good for you, next level. Okay.
So I'm like, if you're nice, I'll do it. And if it's healing messages, I'll do it. So I have very specific things
Love, okay.
for them. Yeah, so, but I'll get messages from people like through the cards. And then one time I was having breakfast with a couple of people, and they started explaining this experience, and I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I think your mom is trying to give you messages. And we were all bawling and goosebumping, and I got dizzy, and supposedly that's just the energy moving through you, that if you're not used to it.
Okay.
And then I guess you get used to it later, but that was a thing.
Okay.
So fun, and it was exhilarating and awesome, but but I don't typically, I'm not a medium. I have good mediums if you ever want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing at a time.
I know.
If you're out there, go with it. I'm fascinated by all of it. And again, even if you are not a believer, I think it's a really great experience to couple alongside your scientific beliefs and just being exposed to all the things that are out there. Because I really do think universe or God or whatever you believe it on finds a way to get stuff to you if you need to hear it and you're open to it.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome to explore all these modalities, even if it doesn't directly speak to you, because usually there's some message to pull out.
Yeah.
I'm way more of a woo human than I'm the science, but I've loved all the science documentaries and charts and graphs around stuff, and like the truth is a frequency. I've enjoyed all of it. So it's all intel providing to what you need to know and stuff about yourself.
Yeah.
So we're learning one day at a time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Laura's literally come into my world. I mean, like we said, about 3 or 4 times, probably more. But every point has been like a conversation. It's been like a pivot for me. So I appreciate you.
Oh,
and I hope our conversations. Yeah. But I mean, and I think you circle back in at the right time. So if you're gone for a while, I'm like, oh shit, I must be low vibration. We gotta mix this up. Call your girl Laura. Like, let's get stuff going.
It's like I'll just pop in like,
What are you
things
doing?
are going well. Laura's here.
Yeah, seriously. That's kind of how it's been. No joke. So I'm glad you're here right now.
Good. Yeah. Things are awesome, and I think that I wish that there was a contrasting card reading, because it's really strange. Like I said, the cards, like some people are like, oh, and they don't want to talk about things, and it's just like, I'm like, oh, I see shit's going down for you. Yeah. And then it's like, with kids or whatever, it's just like it just comes out in the cards, and it's like amazing, just like your blow drying dew. Whatever.
The horse, literally, I'll have to take some pictures of these. But the horses and even the guy angels have pretty varsity hair. I almost think I have to up my hair game. So whatever it is, thanks spirits. And I hope you didn't have to buff or anything, did you? Like, shit's not going down. We were just getting the kid mode.
Oh, no.
Oh, good, okay. Because I can't, like, tell me what I need to know, whatever.
No, the most, like, I think you're in a good space. Like, your energy is really flowing.
Okay.
And I don't love, like, just because I'm spiritual, I don't love the head cards, which are these air cards.
Okay.
Just because I'm like, those aren't fun.
Okay.
Like, I always want, like, relationships and, like,
yeah.
fun careers and whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, the air's like, oh, you're in your head and you're fear-based and
yeah.
So, like, you do have a couple of those cards, but they are so, like, those were powerful messages. Like, you break them away from the pack, like, and you don't have to run with the pack. You can do your own, you do you, and the zebra. And I mean, there's so many messages in these cards. I wish you guys, maybe you should take a picture of all of them so they can post them on Instagram so you can see it, but if that's where you post it. But it's just, like, it's so clear when you see it, right?
Totally.
Like,
and how they all kind of correlate. It's good. It's all, I mean, it's just so reaffirming for what you kind of know, but not really. But then it's like, no, actually, you do know once you hear it. And then you're like, okay, hit the gas. Or run accordingly, or whatever it is.
Right.
Okay.
And apparently, you're supposed to hit the gas right now.
Man, I'm going to take a nap real quick.
I know.
Have another coffee. But no, it's been in my mind, like, because I'm excited, but then, like, sometimes I just won't do. And so now I just need to do. And I know that. And we're doing it, but we need to, like, really do it.
You are doing it. Yeah. The knuckle down. Like, do it.
Get a blowout, look alive.
Get a blowout.
Call Laura if you're interested. Highly recommend. Again, I've done this for many years now and will continue to do so.
Yay.
I appreciate you. Look her up. And we'll probably have you on again soon at some point.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Do a follow-up reading.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, I did.
6 months. You were terrible on TV, Kristen. Just like you know. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm also a photographer, and I did.
Oh yes, she did.
The lights.
She fixed all my lighting. If anyone else on my show, you know how it's been kind of a shit show setting up the light and visual. So we can thank Laura for my quick education in lighting. Yes. She's multifaceted, ladies and gentlemen. Just tell her to pull up at your house and any questions you have about anything.
I can do family photos too.
Yes, she really does. She does phenomenal. And school photos.
Studying to be a mental health counselor, so at some point I can help you. I'm really good with helping. I'm really great if you're having any kind of family shit going down. I've had lots of, I've really learned how to support families in different situations. Like when you're really getting fear-based with like kids and things like that, it's like a lot of times it's our own shit. Like that's my main thing, but also just like supporting all of that, you know, and it's,
That's a new conversation, but I actually think that's one of the most important, whether it's parent, coach, friends, whatever, like managing some of those relationships. I know your specific family and like kiddos and stuff, which is the front lines of our future, so it's a good skill set.
I'm psyched though, like you said, other conversation, but the kids, they're just, it's exciting, the things that, like I've done card readings for teenagers.
Oh, okay.
They have their shit together. They get this.
Really?
Yeah, they get it, and they're like meditating.
Yeah, I've seen the kids when I was coaching. This was like 5 or 6 years ago. I believe it.
Yeah, and they're, I don't know, and then they just see the world so clearly and what needs to be done and things like that. And I'm trying to teach my my oldest biological kiddo, because I have 3 kids. One step into biological kids. Love all of them, and but my oldest, he's a junior. I'm like trying to teach him all the manifestation stuff and your thoughts create your reality, and you know it's really fun, just like visioning, because he is like once he gets it, he was a little bit resistant at first. I took him out to breakfast. I'm like, we're gonna have breakfast once a month.
Oh God, he's like, great mom.
This is what I know, right? And I'm like, this is what I do. We're gonna vision together, and it was so, he really and I feel like he really enjoyed it after we got going. But at first, I think he was like, because I had a giant piece of paper. He's like, no, we need a smaller piece of paper.
Mom, baby steps.
And I'm like, no. And then he did. Like we filled up the big piece of paper, and he was writing on it, and I was writing on it, and it was really
awesome.
Fun. It was amazing. But yeah, resistant at first, but just whatever.
Well, it's new because kiddos don't see that. Like you don't see it in school. Like it's just, I mean, it's something so like foreign to are their realities. But again, it's like anything else. When you're younger, you learn something new. If you've never played lacrosse before, whatever, you learn it, you go to practice, and you become obsessed, and so it's good entry point very early.
And they need their contrast, like they need to have their bad experiences, and we want to protect them and stuff like that. But it's like in reality, they need to like have these experiences and then move through them. But it's like I'm like, God, I'm learning this stuff in my 40s, and God, I would have because I have and had so much potential, and it all got me to where I am today, and I don't regret it, and it's fine. But man,
wouldn't it have been
the
nice?
stuff you can do, especially when it's like you just see people manifesting whatever, and then once you get into, so I've gone from being in survival mode in my life to thriving and creation, and I set that intention though. I was very conscious of like, I don't want to survive anymore. I'm done. Yeah. And when I said I was done, things came into my life that changed everything. Yeah. And then I was in that joyful space that we've been talking about, and that's changed my life. Like I just opportunities, resources, experiences, like. And now I'm like, I want to create my life. I don't want to react to my life. Yeah. And that's a very big difference. And just setting that intention alone is huge, because the things, you just focus on that, and then things start coming in. Yeah. And you just go with it. You're like, okay, that came in, that came in, that came in.
And it just happens. The last cast I did was completely different. It was with Tim, that was like Tales of the Naval Academy. But we really it came up again and again, Life is with Charles Swindoll. I posted that poem. It's 90% or 10% what happens, 90% how you react. So whatever's going in, and being intentional with your thought process, seeing what you want to see, everything you just said. But it's funny when it comes up, in different conversations with totally different people with totally different topics. It all kind of stems back to the same thing.
I imagine it goes into whatever you're saying about the truth is a vibration, or
truth is a frequency.
You
know, when something's so off. And you just said you feel sick, or when you're around people you don't really you want to think they're good but they're not, or the job or the agenda or the training or whatever, you want to believe in it, but you're having to convince yourself, or it just feels when you think about it, you already know, right? But sometimes it's hard to listen to yourself and be like, oh no, but they're good, or no, this is for the good.
It's your brain talking your heart out of it. Your heart actually knows.
Muscle ups are good for you. No, they're not. Not for me. But all of it is listen to yourself.
Yeah, and words are vibrations, and that's been proven, and you can change water through, there's all of that, and I love all of that. But it's our words are so powerful, and it's what we're telling our bodies, and you can change your genes from just your thoughts, and
we'll talk about that on another cast. That's actually pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
On
epigenetics.
Much deeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, and they're just and then you think about what you think that you knew is not what you knew, and that keeps on coming up for me, even just things you're I'm positive I knew this, and it's it's just how people used to think the sun and the earth, a relationship, it's
but we believe it. We're told, the base of this whole podcast is reality is nothing more than applied meaning, really old school philosophy. So we call this table because we've been told it's table. Right. This is how families work. This is how this works. And then what is, identifying, or what is building most of that messaging now? Media. Right. And these are our kiddos are drinking in messages, so that is creating their reality. And that's marketing and sales and crazy influencers and
and then you get into Joe Dispenza talks about advertising and pharmaceutical companies, and he really gets into doing quantitative EEGs and reading brain waves, and your theta waves are the waves that you produce when you are between full-on dreamless sleep and waking up in that kind of twilight state. That's when you manifest things, actually, when you start, because there's no resistance. Okay. And so the pharmaceutical companies will advertise a lot late at night, because it's icky, huh? Yeah. Talk about icky. And it's because you're producing a more suggestible brainwave, so that can actually get into your subconscious, that when you are old you get this, or you need this. So whenever there's pharmaceutical commercials, I don't pay attention to them, I turn them off. Who needs that? And then they're always and you're literally physiologically you're in a suggestible brainwave state where that stuff can get into your subconscious and become a belief, when I get at a certain age I'm going to get shingles.
Right. Oh, I mean, I knew, well, again, the marketing, this was where some of this fear comes from. I've seen that side of things, and I know, and I see how the dollar drives what the message is, which then in turn creates the reality, and then that's what we got to disrupt. And I think the awareness in these conversations are so powerful because then people can, instead of having all these big two things, turn the channel. Right. Like one actual item that can really change, and a little bit of consciousness can change that trajectory. So
you can also, so you use it to your advantage. So it's like, you know, you start manifesting your things, or you take control. What's with that, you know, powered with that knowledge, but maybe that's something that you start thinking about in what you're doing, and maybe that's like a key to changing the ickiness of it.
Yeah, keeping the conscious point. Yeah. In the meantime, call Laura for reading.
We keep
all the things. Well, no, I love it. We could keep going because like you said, the epigenetics. There's so many angles off all of this, and I do think the base point of, you know, everybody, particularly if you're in, you know, a job of service, which I think we both are, is keeping that sacred, joyous space for yourself so you can be the most impactful. And that's what I always love about all these, is what brings me back to being like, okay, let's focus on what's going on here. Because until you get your shit together, you can't impact as much as you want the rest of the world, or your goals, or family, or whatever. So we'll round up there, and then on next cast we'll dive into all the other 87 topics that we had.
When are you posting this approximately?
Probably within the next couple weeks. I usually have been backlogged because I've had so many in a row, but I'll probably have it out within probably the next 2 weeks, maybe sooner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be
put it out there.
at the Melting Pot.
Oh, that's right. I saw this on social media. This is so cool. Yes. Please tell us about this really quick. I'll get it up then. I'll get this in there.
I have this is a thing where just things just come to you when you're in the right vibration, because I haven't really put myself out there a ton. But I've been on different podcasts from people that are passionate about their card readings, and so the opportunities are just coming to me. But this is really cool. So the Melting Pot, which is amazing food and super yummy in the Denver area, they have a location in Littleton and one in Lafayette. And so somebody who's creative came up to me and they're like, would you like to do mini card readings? And they put together a dinner card reading package where you get a mini card reading and dinner.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is. And it's super affordable. I mean, Melting Pot's not inexpensive in general, but plus the card reading, wasn't it like $85 for a couple or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally like doable.
Yeah. So it's like, and it includes the card reading, gratuity, the dinner, and things like that. So I'm doing card readings this Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And then I'm either going to do the 30th of this month, January, or I'm going to.
I won't have it tomorrow, but 30th we can make.
Right.
Okay.
Or the 10th of February. So we're not sure yet.
Okay. You know what, I might actually be able to get this up tomorrow. We'll see. I can push it for sure. Okay.
Because I doubt people will be like listening to, it takes time, whatever.
No, you never know.
You never know.
Good things are coming, you said.
Call
on in, audience. Eleni,
who am I telling? What am I doing?
Please.
I just put down an opportunity. Don't do what I just did.
I'm here for you. Okay, thank you. Look her up, please. Melting Pot. I'll go try to get this out. But I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
We'll chat again
You're
soon.
awesome.
All right. Love you both.
Thank you for joining Turmeric and Tequila with your host, Kristen Olson. Tune in next time, and don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.